afternoon, Dr. Rajesh. Doctor sir, can you hear me?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are. You are. Yes. Welcome, sir. Welcome to our webinar. I think we can start, sir, right? Sir, you are not audible.
हेलो
हाँ ठीक है सर, अब आवाज आ रही है.
हेलो.
हाँ जी सर, we can join you. We can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, sir, with your permission, the participants are joining at the moment. We are having, hello Anuradha. Hello Anuradha. So we are having participants are joining, but since it's already 3 o'clock, I think we would like to start.
Sure.
Yeah, so with your permission, I want to, on behalf of our Vice Chancellor, Professor Rajkumar ji, and our faculty of our Department of Community Education and Disability Studies, and from the chairperson and faculty of University Institute of Hotel and Tourism Management, sir, we welcome you for this webinar series. This is number 2 today. Yesterday was the one webinar series 1 on this. The program is basically on the implementation and the roadmap for the implementation of NEP 2020. And sir, this is the brainchild of our worthy Vice Chancellor, Shri, Professor Rajkumar ji. He had promised that he'll be joining us to inaugurate this webinar. But just now we got the information that because of some urgent work, he cannot join us. But he has sent his best wishes and regards to you and to all the participants.
Thank you.
Now, before I introduce Professor Rajesh to my audience, I just want to say just few things about NEP. Our department has already organized a few webinars on the different strategies on the implementation of NEP, and I think we are going to have many more. But the government it unveiled the new education policy on July 30th, and the main objective was to bring in wide-ranging transformation in school and higher education, and to make India a very vibrant knowledge society. The mandate of NEP 2020 was to make and is to make the current education system holistic, flexible, multidisciplinary, and to fulfill the promise of New India. So I don't want to go into all the details about the NEP, because we all are going to take up a webinar series and we'll be taking up all the issues. But for this today's seminar, we have invited Professor Rajesh, and his topic is on leveraging the role of higher education, lifelong learning and extension for sustainability and analysis with the scope to NEP 2020. Before I request Professor Rajesh to start his presentation, I just want to tell our audience very brief, about our resource person. The Dr. Rajesh, he is the head of the department and professor in the Faculty of Social Science, University of Delhi. He is also the member of Cluster Innovation Center and Unnat Bharat Abhiyan of University of Delhi. He is member of Standing Committee for the implementation of NEP 2020 and represents in the selection committee of the University of Delhi in different colleges. Professor Rajesh is a national level expert of the implementation of Transgender Gender Act and delivered
Madam Daisy, you are not audible. Good morning, good afternoon, Dr. J.
Very good afternoon, ma'am. Very good afternoon.
कैसे हो सर?
ठीक, बिल्कुल ठीक है मैम, बिल्कुल ठीक है. कई बार दिक्कत हो तो वीडियो को ऑफ करके कर सकते हैं.
Yes.
network problem.
In different transgenders, in different starting of different programs, but also we research expert in our department. He comes and he keeps giving his valuable suggestions to our department and to our PhD students. So with these all words, sir, I welcome you and I request you to kindly start your presentation. Professor Rajesh, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Sat Sri Akal. I welcome you all.
Sir.
Of Chandigarh University, Professor Raj Kumar, has already initiated a lecture series on a very, very important aspect, that is New Education Policy 2020. It is a welcoming step, and I equally welcome Professor Deji, the head chairperson of the unit, and also all faculty members of this unit of the department of Chandigarh University, and also Dr. Anis of Hotel and Tourism Management today, who is the partner of this program. I also equally happy that members, students, research scholars of this Chandigarh multiple departments have joined today for the interaction today. I begin my session today by telling that when we see the Sustainable Social Development Goals, and Sustainable Social Development Goals was analyzed in India by Niti Aayog. And Niti Aayog, by analyzing this, Sustainable Social Development Goals, provided Chandigarh and Kerala highest point in terms of quality education. So today I have linked with Chandigarh, who has got, highest point in quality education, that is goal 4 of Sustainable Social Development Goals, achieving lifelong learning. Not only this, I am also linked today with that Chandigarh where in terms of goal 9, that is industry, innovation and entrepreneurship, it has achieved a highest point in second goal number 9. I repeat, innovation, internship and industry. It is well known that all these are a very, very important aspect of the new education policy. Whom today I am talking? I am today linked with Chandigarh University. Chandigarh University, what is the vision and mission of Chandigarh University? If I see, it is said that it is globally recognized for Center for Excellence, Innovation. I talked the entrepreneurship in terms of innovation and industry, in terms of sustainable development goals. So this is the vision and mission of Chandigarh University, that pursuing programs and policy for consonance of new education policy, meeting global challenges, internationalization and social innovation, care for senior citizens, health, hygiene and environment. What I am talking the vision and mission of Chandigarh University, who is currently headed by a very visionary Vice Chancellor, Professor Rajkumar.
Sir, sorry to interrupt.
Sorry to intervene.
Yeah.
Sir, it is our university is Punjab University, not Chandigarh University.
Okay, sorry. So I am speaking on behalf of Punjab University.
Yes,
it may be corrected. It may be corrected that I am speaking on behalf of Punjab University, which is headed by Professor Rajkumar.
Yes.
Is it okay? I need to be corrected.
Yes.
So, I am talking the point of vision and mission of the Punjab University, and also linking myself with Atmanirbhar Bharat. New education policy is in consonance with Atmanirbhar Bharat. What is this? Digitalization. What is this? Digital India, making self-sufficient India, and how digitalization is important. When we see the reform in the railway, it is said if you go for the tickets for the air condition and other kind of a thing, now it will be completely, digital, paperless kind of a thing. Yesterday, we were receiving, food from outside, and the food delivery person has come and he said, sir, we need a photograph that I have delivered. Who was that? A delivery boy. We do not know what is his qualification. What he required to know, that is digitalization. So we are talking digitalization, digital India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, where there is no middleman. There will be no middleman, and direct the money or the benefit will be transferred to the beneficiaries. So, talking in terms of that, today we are talking what are the keywords today. The keywords we are talking today is New Education Policy 2020, for which the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Rajkumar, had a lecture series, lifelong learning, leveraging lifelong learning in new education policy in higher education. So the keywords today that we will be using is NEP 2020, lifelong learning and higher education. When we are talking the Sustainable Development 4, that is achieving lifelong learning, education from early childhood to the, throughout the life. That is Sustainable Social Development Goal 4. We are talking about Sustainable Social Development 2030 of 17 goals, and goal 4, which I already said that this university, Chandigarh, has scored the highest, and in 2020, India scored 66 points in comparison to 2019 in Sustainable Social Development Goal. So 0.6% better achieved in Sustainable Development Goals by India in terms of 2019. Once we talk about the new education policy which Professor Deji was talking about. Why it is in discussion? It is in discussion because in the 21st century in which we are going, it is the first new education policy 2020 in 21st century. So talking the new education policy first in this century, and not only in first in terms of many more things. What are the many more things? Once we talk about the policy and programs, We could remember that from oral tradition, from Gurukul system to the system we came where the certificate, degree, diploma were provided, and which the system was taught that it had become a teacher-centric program. It had become a monologue. There is no communication. There is no dialogue. And we all, adult educator, lifelong learning, already used Paulo Freire pedagogy of the oppressed, where he says that we are not a open passbook. A student are not the open passbook where you can go in bank and you can deposit the money and the computer says that this is the digital kind of a thing. We are a human being, and as a human being, what is required is a two-way communication. Two-way communication, and this is the new education policy, which has become learner-centric, which has become multidisciplinary, which had become from global to local, internationalization, multidisciplinary. We talk multidisciplinary, but once we achieve that, curricular, co-curricular, linking sciences, social sciences, humanities, curricular, co-curricular together is not an easy task. Talking looks like a dialogue. We are not giving a dialogue. What we are giving, that how this can be percolated down, how the synergies of lifelong learning and new education policy comes together and provides the student-centric exposure where the learners could achieve the things. For example, we have undertaken a study in Delhi University. We have approached 150 students and we said, suppose after completing your degree or diploma, what you would like to do, what you would like to achieve. Nearly 95% or so said, sir, we will go for competitive examination. We will go for IS. We will go for banking examination. We will go for railway examination. Now, you tell us that for all these examinations, hardly 1 or 2% go for teaching and research, or less than 5%. That means our system, 95% or so, students and scholars, what we are teaching them? Are we teaching the things what is required for their career, for their future career? And this is why it was said that our education policy is faulty in such a term that we deliver, but it is not linked with the employability. So this new education policy talks about the competency, the skill building, the life skills, and about the employability, about the entrepreneurship, about the self-sufficiency, where you are providing the opportunity for innovation. You are providing the opportunities for learning by doing. It is not only a kind of a teacher-centric where teacher comes and provide a classroom session. How to make communication or two-way participatory learning system possible, this new education policy talks about. It talks about Malcolm Knowles' experiential learning, learning by doing. When the students, scholars are provided the opportunity for internship, if we see the new education policy, it said internship from class 6 while coming to the department from where I have linked. Today, I have seen the internship opportunity for the students and scholars from Niti Aayog. I forwarded to our students and scholars because if we go to the national institutions, if we go to the international institutions for internship, for practical experiences, to voluntary organizations, to industries, to corporates, we have had a learning experiences which our traditional universities, public-private universities were not providing. We were just bothering about providing the history, political science, physics and chemistry, and our concern as a teacher remained only to complete the syllabus for the summative evaluation. What the new education policy talks about? It talks about the formative evaluation, from where at each stage they will be evaluated. They will have to face seminar, workshop, presentations, PPT presentations, so that it is not the learning only, but the experiential learning, which Professor Malcolm Knowles, talks in adult learning in andragogy. And this is why we talk about that a lifelong learning, adult learner have a experiential learning. Farmers, a housewife, domestic workers, unorganized workers might not have the certificate, degree or diploma, but they have the experiences. How the new education policy talks, UNESCO talks about recognition, validation, certification of prior learning. Our policy talks about RPL, that is recognition of prior learning. So prior learnings become very, very pertinent in terms, because more than 92% of our Indian population are in unorganized sector. So these unorganized sector population must be their knowledge in terms of electricity, in terms of plumbing, in terms of computer knowledge, that must be acknowledged, recognized and certified, becomes the target of our new education policy also. Research is a very important thing. And again, I remember, I organized a series of research methodology courses from Indian Council of Social Science Research for 10 days to 12 days to 15 days. But in research, I could remember citing an example that for research methodology course, the minimum qualification becomes post-graduation. Only a researcher, only a teacher, only a postgraduate students are supposed to learn research methodology course, not in new education policy. It talks at undergraduate level. The fourth year, you will have researches under the FYUP program, which the new education policy talks about 4-year undergraduate program. So citing the example, I remember when I was organizing the program, when we were sitting in a different place in University of Delhi, an undergraduate student from SRCC came. He came several times to me and said, "Sir, you are a course director. I know that post-graduation is a minimum qualification. Sir, but I am interested for research. Whatever the money you can take, you do not give me certificate. I do not come here for certificate. The only thing required that I may be allowed to attend the research methodology course." I said, it may not be ethical because it is not for undergraduate program. He said, "Sir, you can do it off the record." I was persuaded by him and I allowed. And at that time, the resource person came and over a cup of tea, he said, "Rajesh, you should not have done things." At that time, I had no answer, but the new education policy has given the answer that in the 4th year of undergraduate program, there will be a research every day in the newspaper, at every place. I was told when I was in International Institute of Population Sciences, the UGC chairperson, Professor Armiti Desai, that student scholars must undertake the research on whatever the minimum sample available, 20, 50, 100, 200, and short term of research they should undertake to learn the skills of research methodology, and also to do that how you undertake the case study, how you undertake the focus group discussion, how you undertake storytelling, catharsis. All these things learning become very, very important, and this is why in new education policy their research in the 4th year undergraduate level program becomes very, very important thing, part and parcel of the delivery system, the importance of research. And not only that, the co-curricular social outreach. The education system, university and colleges, is not an ivory tower. It is built from the public money. Those 95% unorganized sector persons, literate or illiterate person, everybody has the wisdom, has the right to know what we are doing. Everybody has a right to say that as a university college level thing, what we are doing in social outreach, in socialization, in curricular and co-curricular activity. So new education policy certainly, provides us opportunities for social outreach, curricular and co-curricular activity. What we are doing a public good during the pandemic, during the COVID-19, how our social responsibility, not only by telling that extension is our mandate, how mandate is translated into the reality, the new education policy is talking, how the theory is translated into the reality, into the emblem of Navbharat India, or the new policy of the government of India. And I already talked about the recognition of prior learning, and it has a tradition. We see from Kothari Commission itself that it is said that not by schooling, the learning continues after the schooling. It is a lifelong learning process. And even our policy, National Education Policy of 1986 talks that the education learning is a cherished goal of lifelong learning. So it's a continuous learning. Our oral tradition, our Kothari Commission report, our 1986 report also talks about the lifelong learning opportunity and the global discourses of that time. If we see the global discourses of our time, that is the learning the treasure within of 1996 of European Commission's, the report of 2000, which talks about the 8 goals. It talks about the 8 goals of education policy. What are the goals? How we wish to achieve remains a very, very important issue and challenges for our framework kind of a thing. Once we talk about lifelong learning in the emblem of the new education policy, in India, we have several discussion and discourses. It happened in Mumbai in 1998. The discussion happened. It happened in 2002 in Hyderabad. It was sponsored by UNESCO. The third is sponsored by UNESCO, rather collaboration by UNESCO, University of Delhi in 2014, which it talks about. The report is available online on the prospects of lifelong learning, in which we had envisaged that a UNESCO chair to be established in University of Delhi as part of lifelong learning. So under new education policy, how a national policy of lifelong learning is to be created so that the goals, aspirations of the new education policy are implemented in letter and spirit of the system, Lifelong learning remains very, very, important that we discussed because it is multidisciplinary. If we discuss our visionary scientist, Honorable Sri Kasturi Rangan, who remained the chairperson of new education policy, he said, no matter you are in humanity, in social sciences, in commerce or sciences, you will have to learn the data, big data. You will have to learn artificial intelligence. You will have to learn machine learning. You will have to learn scientific temper. You will have to learn the environment because it is a very, very important thing. Is it because of environmental degeneration that we are facing all kinds of a problem? Is a matter of study and research. So mathematical aptitude, the new education policy, the FY UP programs talks about the minimum kind of a thing. And I could remember the debate, when the debate of FY UP started, it has given the building of mathematical aptitude, and it came from the 3R, that an illiterate person have to learn reading, writing, and simple arithmetics. They are supposed to know their bank account. They are supposed to know the deposit in the account. They are supposed to know today digitalization, which is the part and parcel of Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is the part and parcel of financial literacy, new education policy, without which you cannot implement all these kind of a thing. When I was delivering a kind of a session for Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, they said quickly that 15 days portal open for the third gender community, the third gender in which I am a national level resource person. The transgender can get the benefit of 1,500 rupees if they apply online from this date. You look, their level of literacy, level of education is low, but whether are they able, have they access to be a kind of a smart mobile phone or digital opportunity where they can apply? How our system, how we can provide them the opportunity so that the facilities available under Atmanirbhar Bharat, facilities available under the new education policy must be percolated down to the lowest level of beneficiaries of the system. That is what it talks about. The internship is what? It is a hands-on experience. It is not only a session. It is not only a one-way communication where once you go in corporate, once you go in industry, your hands-on experiences, your training, your internship becomes very, very pertinent. And this is why I said that from class 6, the student have to learn the internship, the benefits of learning by doing, online teaching and learning. We were not very, eager about the move, about the UGC e-Pathshala, about program of Ministry Swayam. But suddenly, due to this COVID-19 or due to the lockdown, we all become familiar, more acquainted, and started using the digital platform for our learning. It was a surprise to me when I delivered a series of sessions for Anganwadi workers, for ICDC workers and helpers. I asked, what is the qualification? They said class 8, maybe less than 10. But these, helpers, ICDC workers, Anganwadi workers are very important, because in new education policy, foundational literacy, the foundational literacy, the education begins after 3 and up to 18, it will remain compulsory. So they will learn through the Anganwadi worker, ICDC workers, and Anganwadi workers and family becomes very, very important. 5 types of learning. So basic foundational literacy kind of a things, soft skills. The soft skills will incorporate, digitalization, financial skills, legal literacy, and also, human rights, social literacy. Today, people also talks about the health literacy, because our health is affected and infected, not only physical health, but mental health and social health. So, how to take care of mental health and social health? This is why the new education policy do not only talk about the curricular thing, it talks about life skills. It talks about curricular activity as part of teaching and learning system, So all these things can be taken together in the new education policy, introducing skill and competency. So we are learning knowledge gain, but also skill and competency in the university system, in the colleges, in the higher education system. If we see the new education policy, it talks that by 2035, the current intake in higher education, it is 26 point something, maybe 27% approximately. It will be up to, aim is 50% by 2035. So how to take down up to 35%, 50% by increase in the system? Certainly, it will be through the online digitalization. And once we talk about lifelong learning, we link formal, non-formal, and informal learning together. Learning to cater, we will have to link the programs of the new education policy, programs of Atmanirbhar Bharat under the emblem of the higher education, so that the target of 50% of the government of India is achieved, and achieved in not terms of giving the reading, writing, and simple arithmetic, not giving in terms of the foundational literacy, but in terms of skills and competency, in terms of a good citizenship, social outreach, a empowered human being who can contribute for the national and international development, who can participate in incubation, innovation, and who cannot just only work for employability, but become the employer. We see several students, scholars, who has done the incubation, who has running their own organization, their own system, entrepreneur, they have become employer. So our target is not to become hankering only for the employment, all of us, but we must also go for self-employment. We can also become an entrepreneur. We can also become the manager. We can also do, a new kind of a skills and, technology and linked with our policy, which is the part and parcel of our synergies of lifelong learning and new education policy that we are talking about. Multidisciplinarity. If we talk about the new education policy, it talks about teaching incentive university, teaching intensive university, where the teaching will take place. research intensive university, where the researches are very important. It provides us direction. So how the researches which remain weak in our higher education system, in India, we could not achieve in 100 universities. It is because of researching. So how this research temperament can be developed among the undergraduate, postgraduate students, among the teachers. So, further accelerate at national and international level and achieve the targets of new education policy and sustainable social development. 2030 is the target, is the objective of new education policy that we have to talk about. So research to be introduced at the UG and PG level so that the multidisciplinarity can be talked about. So we are, as part of pedagogy or andragogy, we are in higher education providing the opportunity for communication, presentation, discussion, debate, analysis, research analysis under the emblem of, interdisciplinarity, a kind of a thinking sort of a thing. And this is why under the choice-based credit system, we have open elective where the students of geography can go to chemistry, can go to psychology, can come to physics. All these things, the students must get the opportunity to learn lifelong learning with physics, mathematics, and chemistry. The experimentation of various disciplines and co-curricular and social outreach, music, culture, how the fusion of all these things can be taken, experimented, researched, so that a true learner, a competent learner, a skilled learner can be developed, and for which is only possible by the training of teachers, by the changing the attitude of the teachers who becomes the facilitators, who become the guru, and who become a torch bearer in the new system where the system is not teacher centric, but the system is more learner student centric, student centric, research scholar centric, so that the ethos of the new education policy, so that the ethos of the Atmanirbhar Bharat can be achieved in a sustainable development model, which is, the target of our system. What is to be done? Academic, bank of credit. For example, in lifelong learning, we can develop a, digital bank of credit under the new education policy. And we can say from 2 days, from 7 days to 1 month, to 2 months to 6 months, we can have in the digital bank, in the academic bank, courses are there. One can offer these courses from the higher education emblem, and these developed through a national standard, national, international standard quality of education, where the Chandigarh and Kerala tops in terms of quality education and sustainable development, kind of a thing. So these things can be experimented. So academic bank of credits developed so that the students can take the benefits. Students in the new education policy can start their own startup. Startup is not only in technology. How our traditional university providing the students and scholars opportunity for incubation, technology development center, technology driven system, where the center for academic and industry, the corporates, industry are divorced from the traditional public and private university, but it is not there in the developed country. Developed countries undertake research under the emblem of industries and corporates. How this, kind of a thing under the new education can be done that we work for industry, we work for corporate. Why? Because in true sense, once we talk about employability, I said in the beginning that only a few % of us are going for teaching and research. And our 98% of students and scholars are aspiring for other things. So what we are offering our system in traditional kind of a thing, before the implementation of new education policy remain faulty. This tried to, inbuilt in the new education policy by the planners, by the visionary chairperson Rangan, when this policy was, taken up, and in the phase of implementation, which we call a learner, a student-centric, kind of a thing, which we call skill and competence-centric, which we call building the life skills for the students, and where the student and the scholar can for learning opportunities 24/7, learning remains continue. It is not the classroom-based system, 1 hour, 2 hour, classes over, learning over. No, the traditional system has to go. The learning through the formal, non-formal, informal learning, open-based, digital-based, open distance learning, formal-based, all these things have to come together. For this, what is required to be done, which is there in our system inbuilt, new education policy, is to rebuild the national qualification framework, the national curriculum, framework, national skill competency framework, which is a part and parcel of our system, is to be taken together, making the student-centric teaching learning rather than a teacher-centric. The focus should include that I said, our former Vice Chancellor, Professor Dinesh Singh, said once that, there will be a time where the use, as a mathematician, use of big data, we all have many data coming during the COVID-19 period. How these data are used and utilized for social innovation is a very, very important kind of a thing, is a vision of the new education policy, is a vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat, how to percolate down at the university and college level, remains the focus of kind of a thing, information, communication, technology, that need to be, increased under the new education policy. So the focus remains student-centric, competence is skill-based, research and innovation, internship, education, all these things become the part and parcel, kind of a new education policy that we have to take care in these things, Once we talk about the new education policy, we will have to have the, taking the key challenges of vocationalization in higher education system, increasing the number of people in the higher education system, and making the UNESCO's target of 4 pillars of learning: learning to know, learning to do, and learning to be, and learning to live together, a very, very important issues and challenges, these 4 pillars of learning. So how these 4 pillars of learning can be taken together? While I was talking about, the European Union based of lifelong learning, which is incorporated in our new education policy, the ethos, they talks about 8 key competencies. You see the reflections of 8 key competencies in our system. What are the 8 key competencies that we have taken? We have communication in the mother tongue. If we see our new education policy, it said in the beginning, you have to learn in our mother tongue, maybe in Assamese, maybe in Punjabi, maybe in Uriya, maybe in Bhojpuri, maybe whatever your mother tongue becomes your first language, which is the core component of the new education policy. Communication in foreign language. In your university, in our university, in higher education, we will have to learn our language. We will have to learn a couple of foreign language for the employability, for the skill and competency. So what is required is that learning as per our interest, the foreign language. We already talked, that is the part of new education policy also, mathematics and competency, science, technology and environment. It is there in the 8 competencies of European Union also, and it is also in the Kasturi Rangan's new education policy. Scientific new education policy becomes the important kind of a things, Then information, digital learning suddenly becoming very, very important. E-Pathshala, lot many platforms are there where we are learning all these kind of a thing, learning to learn. 4 pillars of learning we talk. Why we learn? Because we wish to learn. What we wish to learn? We wish to learn curricular, co-curricular, culture, science, technology as per our curricular, co-curricular, as per our interest, as per our temperament. That is become very important. Learning to learn social and civil competence. That is education policy. It is part of 8 European Union's core competency that we had taken. It is the part of sustainable social development goals 17. We have to have it, and this is why if you say 4 pillars of learning, we talk about learning the national citizen as a global citizen, because we also talk about a global village. This is why our slogan is local. Local and global also. That becomes from localization and globalization. All becomes the pertinent under the umbrella of the new education policy. So social and civil competence, sense of initiative and entrepreneurship. We talked about that in industry, in entrepreneurship, in innovation. That is the part of sustainable social development goal also. In achieving, Niti Aayog said that Chandigarh figured top in terms of that goal also, along with the quality education, sustainable social development goal, cultural awareness and exposure, So these things are also become the part and parcel of our learning system, that how it is, kind of a thing. So in nutshell, what I wish to say, that new education policy 2020 under the umbrella of lifelong learning, how these together are clubbed. Why? The keyword, the buzzword has come, lifelong learning in higher education and new education policy. Because the lifelong learning talks from the beginning itself that learning is a continuous process. Digitalization were not there. When we came to University of Delhi for learning, we have not seen the ATM. We have not seen the use of so many computers. We have not seen so many digitalization. But today we cannot say no. We are not a learner. We are not a student. We do not have to learn. A delivery boy has to learn a smartphone. if he has to survive. A Anganwadi worker, ICTG worker have to learn. So learning is a lifelong process. Formal, non-formal, informal learning coming together, making a opportunity for a continuous learning. All these paradigms of multidisciplinarity, importance of research, and in higher education policy, multiple entry and multiple exist. You can exist, 3 times in a system. You can enter in a couple of years. You can do something else. You can do employment. You can again enter. You can again exist. Is a part of a FY UP program under the new education policy. So from foundational level to the higher education, where we will have a specialized teaching learning, specialized research kind of a thing, specialized skills of communication, coping skills and negotiation, that becomes the part and parcel of the new education policy that we are adopting, in the process of adoption, to make a man in the 21st century, the first new education policy, to make a true national citizen who can innovate, who can participate in innovation, entrepreneurship, and start own venture along with the scope of employability and skills, become the realities and possibilities of new education policy 2020. So new education policy is a dream come true, is a departure from the traditional system, is a traditional where a curriculum, a teacher-centric, where the maximum learners have no scope that what they are participating, what they are doing in the system becomes suddenly pertinent in the system. So how this revolution, how this slogan, how this ethos can be made reality and possibility by making public-private partnership, by joining a student-teacher system infrastructure together to make this, possible, so that the learner or the student and scholar for whom the system is built, and also the society at large gets benefited by the public and private university. I repeat that it is not the ivory tower. Higher education is not only for the teachers. Higher education is not only for the students also. Higher education is the society at large. And this is why we said from 27% to 50%, we have to achieve the enrollment by 2035, whatever the wage and means, formal, non-formal, informal, and digitalization. How it can be done? It can be done by public-private partnership. It can be done by making a joint venture. What you are doing, a series of things you have started in the system that will make us a reality and possibility and dream together of these two synergies that we today try to build under one umbrella, the lifelong learning in higher education. A policy is required, an Indian policy is required in lifelong learning. Why it is required? Because it is the lifelong learning in higher education which will help in policy 2020 realities and possible, because the traditional institution, the traditional department do not have that kind of a skill and competency. They will have to learn from where they will learn, from where they will teach. They will teach from these, lifelong learning opportunities for which the policy makers, planners, Niti Aayog, the University Grants Commission have to come together and to build a policy of lifelong learning to make the reality of new education policy together. So what I will do, madam, that not to go continuously, but to have a certain scope for interaction, communication, so that we can have some kind of a building base for interaction also. So I think I helpful, kind of a thing that the venture you have started, your honorable vice chancellor, your department, two institutions have started together, and very meaningful things you are doing for the faculty, for the students and scholars, for on a very, very important, pertinent aspect during the COVID period. We all are digitally linked. So such thing will certainly be useful and will provide the larger opportunity, better opportunity for all of us to learn and make a new education policy 2020 a big success in our system, in your university. And the last thing we will say, we all say, because we are going to celebrate 100 years next year to our University of Delhi 2020. So centenary year, we are working for making the lifelong learning in higher education a success in the umbrella of new education policy 2020. Thank you, madam, and thank you all.
Rajesh, about the lifelong learning and how it is, what are the different components which are coming under the National Education Policy 2020. You discussed in detail about the 92% of the unorganized sector in our country who are in different they're electricians, they're plumbers. Now there are different ways, formal, informal, non-formal, digital way. They all can be reached out through the lifelong learning. My personal opinion is that not that now we are only having lifelong learning programs. It has always been there,
Yeah.
the different names have been given, but under this new education policy we also have credit system
Yeah.
fulfill all our, suppose in case being a student of physics, they want to do a course in environment, they can do. And any student of environment wants to study chemistry or can also take up a credit course of chemistry. So that also kind of, I personally feel, fulfills students, as you said, that now and it is learner centric. If the more focus is on that, so it's going to fulfill all those parameters. So thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you.
Rajesh. We had more than 60 participants hearing you. Can I make it open, anybody and my faculty, teachers, or the department research scholars, anyone has any question, they can kindly raise their hand, or they can ask, please. It's open to all now. We have few minutes before we again say, finally say thanks to sir. You are free, all of you. Anyone, please?
Good
I
afternoon,
have a
sir.
question.
This side Anuradha.
Anuradha
Sir,
Sharma. Sir,
Yeah.
please, Professor
Right.
Anuradha Sharma, our department. Yes.
Yeah.
Sir, my question is how your university, Delhi University, is doing credit
Choice based. Choice based.
choice system in your university. Second, my question is when we are talking about lifelong education, right? In regular courses, if we want to say regular courses, we want to value added courses, we want to start the value added courses. So, what type of courses we can start in social sciences? If we want to add those courses, how we can add those courses in our social sciences, and what type of courses we can start in the social sciences courses.
You have asked a very pertinent question. They has already started the choice-based credit system. It is there at the postgraduate and undergraduate level, active also, which we said that students can select and can take the courses. However, there are some glitches, some problems in taking open elective and sharing the credit. Some issues are there because it is quite new and we are not acquainted with this. So certainly it has to become more open, that the open elective should be there. Rather, what we wish that in new education policy, how we give more opportunities to the learners, more in all semester. This open elective papers, internship can be there. So far as the value added courses are there, a new education policy or the University Grants Commission portal offers, it also offers courses of value added courses. It has a courses of LOCF, they call UGC, now call is learning outcome based courses. We are also offering, started offering 4 learning outcome based courses, where suppose we said that courses on research methodology, project planning, implementation, on social outreach, the courses on lifelong learning. Suppose as a social scientist, as a humanities, we can have 4 or 5 credit course of lifelong learning for each, for sciences, for commerce, for other kind of a thing. So we started offering that everybody must get a opportunity to have 4 or 5 credit course, maybe open elective, so that such courses under the LOCF, learning outcome based courses, that you call it the value based courses, can be added upon. Such new baskets are there. Our university also had a committee. The committee is ready and the implementation had started from this year. What are the recommendations of the committee? But due to COVID, the implementation is delayed, but the committee already provided the recommendation. And first thing is there that it is multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary. In the last session, which was addressed by our Honorable Vice Chancellor, I said that this is the lifelong learning department, which is already multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary. Such thing must be taught in other department also. Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Okay.
Dr. Rajesh,
Yeah.
there is a question in the chat box. I'll just read out the question.
Yeah.
1 second. It is Anil Gartan. He says that on one side, government makes new education policy, and on other side, government wants to shut down the government schools on the basis of student-less strength. Is it right to shut down school rather than work on that? One more thing, sir, why government changed the whole system instead of solving the problem in previous system? That is
very pertinent kind of a thing. What is the requirement and what is perhaps it is done, that the making public-private partnership a reality, where public system should also remain, because by and large education and health is a public good, and also there is a need that how in researches, how in incubation and innovation, the corporate and industries can be linked, their resources can be used. So this is the time where the public-private partnership is needed in the system. And, the NITI Aayog, which is, a new version of Planning Commission, is now in a advisory role, and it is looking after, for example, sustainable social development kind of a thing, for example, new schemes and new programs that can be experimented, that can be used under the umbrella of NITI Aayog. Certainly, there is some departure. But, the question is that in the changing paradigm, already the education is the part of in globalization, is a part of consumer kind of a thing, and it has already started beginning. And where if we see that we have a kind of a synergy of public and private schools, higher education, rather than having a kind of a competition, how we can jointly contribute for that kind of a thing is a need of the hour. And certainly, I admit that education, and especially the primary education, fundamental education, become the part and parcel of the education. But if you take my personal opinion, I will say so far higher education, so far technological education is concerned, suppose if the computer science management, if the students are ready to pay, so the scholarship fees can be taken from those who are ready to pay and can be given to the poor, so that the resources you are saving must go to the population at large, you see. Because one thing I say as a teacher, in the last day of the month, I get the salary in my account. But is it the reality for 92, 93, 94% unorganized workers who are not able to make their bread? So it is the responsibility to how to make a balance between the two. That is my view or the opinion, because these universities, colleges, and schools are also part and parcel of our society at large. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rajesh. Anyone else, please?
Hello, madam.
Yes.
Madam, I have a very particular question on this. I am from
Yes.
Andhra Pradesh, and the CM of our state wanted to make all government schools as English medium ones, whereas our Modi ji says that learning has to begin from, according to new education policy, it has to begin in the mother tongue. So, would this clash between the center and the state affect the students and the learning system in any way?
You have asked again a pertinent question.
Thank you,
Once you ask about education, in Constitution, we all know that education is perhaps in the concurrent list, in the state list, that where the state can also do the things, where the center can also do the things. But once the new education policy start implementing, it's language policy, which I said that the part of the 8 Europeans education policy also, the planners or the state government have to realize that the beginning of education must be done from the mother tongue itself. So what is required? It is not a matter of government only. We are also the part and parcel of the government, society at large. So positive pressure of the society is also becoming the opinion, because we are the opinion makers, we are the voters. So everything cannot be left to the government itself. Who is government? I am also the government. Who is the government? You are also the government. I do not see only the Honorable Modi ji or only the state chief minister is the government. We are also the government. We are also the opinion maker, and we have to see the public good in that right spirit. Yeah, thank you.
Right, sir, because I'm also a teacher and I have 3.5 years baby who is yet to join her school. So I am very much involved and intrigued by this doubt, and you have clarified it. Thank you so much, sir, and the session was really wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Anyone else? Friends, please. We have another 10 minutes.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, good
Parinita.
evening. Parinita, bolo bete.
Sir, I have a question. Sir, am I audible?
Yeah. Please carry on. Sir,
sir,
आपका
I have
कुछ
a
कनेक्शन
question.
का इशू आ रहा है, डॉक्टर राजेश. डॉक्टर राजेश,
I think उनकी लाइट चलेगी है.
हाँ कुछ इशू है वहाँ.
हाँ. लाइट गई थी और ब्लैक हो गया था when we-
Okay, ma'am.
अभी एक मिनट रुक जाओ, सर का वो वहां घूम रहा है, अभी मुझे लगता है उनको सुन नहीं रहा। या पनीता आप पूछ लो, मे बी एनीवन एल्स कैन आंसर यू। पूछ लो बेटे।
मैम मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि जैसे हम 6th क्लास से ही इंटर्नशिप इंट्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं बच्चों के
हम्म,
लिए, और इतने सारे लैक्स ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स जो है इंटर्नशिप के थ्रू निकलेंगे, तो इनकी इंटर्नशिप कहाँ पॉसिबल है? मतलब इतने छोटे ग्रुप में, मतलब इतनी छोटी स्टेज पे इनकी इंटर्नशिप कहाँ पॉसिबल है? क्या-क्या एवेन्यूज हैं? और क्या क्या इससे वाकई लर्निंग बाय डूइंग होगी या कंपटीशन इनकलकेट होगा?
जितना मुझे थोड़ा बहुत, मैंने एनईपी को पढ़ा है, डिटेल में पढ़ा, जितना मुझे समझ ये आई है कि जो सारा का सारा फोकस है वो वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग के ऊपर है, क्योंकि कई सालों से हजारों और लाखों हमारे देश में ग्रेजुएट, पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट और इंजीनियर्स निकल रहे हैं, बट दे ऑल आर जॉबलेस। ठीक है, जैसे हम लोग कहते हैं कुली इंजीनियर्स। यहाँ पर कितने सारे पंजाब में इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेजेस होते हैं जिसमें आप पैसे दे दो और इंजीनियरिंग डिग्री उनको मिल जाती है, बट दे एक्चुअली आर नॉट इंजीनियर्स, तो उनको अच्छी जॉब्स वगैरह भी नहीं मिलती है। ये तो एक प्रोफेशनल कॉलेज का हाल हुआ। तो सिमिलरली जो हम ग्रेजुएट्स बनाते हैं या पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट, they have no skill. The moment they come out, see, everybody cannot get a job in school, college or university, except very few get. So what happens is that mostly they are having no skill. So why the whole focus is on developing skill, so that the moment they're out of their school or college, they get into some kind of a vocational, मिलती ही मिलती है, any kind of vocation. I think that is the whole focus. Anybody can join me and add or give some more light. Most welcome.
और इसके एवेन्यूज कहाँ-कहाँ होंगे मैम?
Avenues पूरे
मतलब
country में
स्कूल,
होंगे बेटे. The places like
मतलब
China or Japan, every single house is a small industry. Every single house. सुई से लेके बड़ी बड़ी चीजें सब घरों में बनती है. Because for our daily life, daily things, and they all are being produced in the factories. तो ये सारी सब चीज, छोटी छोटी चीजें जो हर वोकेशनल में वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग के थ्रू बनती है. It could be garment.
Hello,
It
hello.
could be. Hello, yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
ma'am. There was some electricity problem, so suddenly I
No
got.
issue, sir. She will repeat her question. I was
Yeah.
trying to kind of fill the gap. Parveen,
Sure.
ask, sir will answer you. Parnita, please.
Yeah.
So she is our research scholar of the department.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
So my question is कि जैसे हम स्कूल में ही इंटर्नशिप इंट्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं,
Yeah.
तो इसके एवेन्यूज कहाँ-कहाँ होंगे? फर्स्ट और
Yeah.
और क्या ये
आगे?
फर्स्टली और सेकेंडली जैसे हम लर्निंग बाय डूइंग कर रहे हैं, उसको फोकस करके कर रहे हैं, तो इतनी छोटी उम्र में इट विल बी लर्निंग बाय डूइंग और कंपटीशन
ये आवाज बंद हो गई है बेटे. हाँ.
rather than focusing on learning.
You have asked a very right question. You see, so far as कि आपने जो एवेन्यूज की बात की, नए एवेन्यूज बनाने होंगे. पहली चीज इसकी आवश्यकता है क्या? You see, I have a child of 6-7 year in my house. If I face some technological problem, कुछ भी, I had given 35 national level lectures on transgender. Now, a 6-year child in my house, he says, he started, if you say, ask 10 sentences about transgender, the 6-year boy will speak about that. He knows need to be inculcated. Learning by doing तो बच्चे कर रहे हैं. जैसे sometimes we used to say, our colleagues say, यार हमारे जो बच्चे हैं क्लास 2 से अपना फीस करते हैं, अपना काम करते हैं. We are allowing the children कि उनके अनस्पीक हो, उनको कहते हैं करने के लिए, इट बिकम्स ए वेरी इन दिस फेज में आप कई बार देखेंगे कुछ ऐसी चीजें बच्चों ने कर दिए, यंग लोगों ने कर दिए जो उनको आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स एक नया लगा, कुछ नई क्रिएटिविटी, काइंड ऑफ ए थिंग। हमारे यहाँ ऑफिस का बेटा सन इज ए वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पोर्ट्रेट वो बनाता है पोर्ट्रेट। अब घर में कहते हैं कितना अच्छा काम करता है, लेकिन सडनली ये पता कैसे चला जब सोशल मीडिया में बाकी जगह दिखाने लगे। तो ये जो नई, दैट इज व्हाट इज इंटर्नशिप, क्या है? अपनी अपॉर्चुनिटी को आगे बढ़ाने का मौका देना। उन बच्चों को एज स्पेसिफिक रिक्वायरमेंट के अनुसार हम सिर्फ ये ना कहें नहीं बच्चे हैं, लर्निंग क्लोज, learning remains continue as per the kind of a thing that become very important। मुझे याद है अपने टाइम का एग्जांपल, पेरेंट टीचर मीटिंग इन स्कूल्स, तो वो कहते थे प्रिंसिपल यूज्ड टू से कि इन आवर स्कूल कल्चर इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। क्या इंपॉर्टेंट है? तो वी डू नॉट अलाउ द चिल्ड्रेन कि पेपर इज कंपल्सरी, लेकिन जो दिल्ली मेट्रो पेजेज होते हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल हिंदुस्तान टाइम्स मेट्रो पेजेज, टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया के जो अलग पेजेज होते हैं वो हम पहले से अलग कर लेते हैं। वी डू नॉट चिल्ड्रेन वो देखें। जब उसका सर्वे किया गया पाया गया, देन द चिल्ड्रेन सेड कि भाई व्हाई, एडोलेसेंट सेड ये कैसे हुआ कि 2 पेज हमें नहीं दिखाया गया। नाउ द चिल्ड्रेन हैज नो इंटरेस्ट ऑन द 10 पेज व्हिच इज केप्ट ऑन हिज टेबल। ही हैज इंटरेस्ट, शी हैज इंटरेस्ट कि 2 पेज हमसे छिपाया क्यों गया। तो जो लर्निंग है, जो इंटर्नशिप है, उसमें एज स्पेसिफिक बातें बताते हैं। छिपाना क्या होता है? तो दैट मीन्स हम उसको नॉलेज के परव्यू से बाहर निकालते हैं। और WHO कहता है कि 25% उसमें क्यूरियोसिटी बदलती है। कोई चीज हम ले आए एक सिक्रेटिव वे में छिपा के आपके पास, तो आपको लगेगा कि भाई सर ने क्या छिपा के रखा है, क्यों नहीं दिखाना चाहे उसके अंदर एक ग्लास निकले, कुछ एक छोटी चीज निकले, बट दैट काइंड ऑफ एटीट्यूड विल मेक ए सॉर्ट ऑफ लर्निंग नॉट पॉसिबल। तो ये है कि हमारा जो एवेन्यूज है वो एवेन्यूज को लार्जर स्टेज पर शेयरिंग होनी चाहिए पब्लिक प्राइवेट स्कूल्स के बीच में, कि मान लीजिए पब्लिक स्कूल का प्राइवेट में, प्राइवेट का वो इंटर्नशिप में अपॉर्चुनिटी प्रोवाइड करेगा अपॉर्चुनिटी। तो जो एवेन्यूज हैं उनको बदलने की आवश्यकता है, सो दैट कि एक लर्निंग, कई बार क्या होते हैं कि यू चले जाओ वहां, चले कुछ मत करो, यू जस्ट सी द प्लेस, गोइंग टू द प्लेस, knowing about that place is also a internship। So such kind of a thing can be started so that the learners have the age specific internship and avenues and learning by doing। Thank you।
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
डॉक्टर राजेश, थैंक यू सो मच। परिणीता, आपको सुन लिया डॉक्टर राजेश ने क्या बताया?
हाँ जी मैम, हाँ जी, हाँ जी। Thank you so much।
मुझे लगता है वॉइस में कुछ प्रॉब्लम आई है, आई कांट हेयर यू।
Thank you so much, ma'am.
She said
Dr.
yes.
Rajesh,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you and her also. Yeah, I can hear both of you.
But
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. There's another question
Yeah.
by Mr. Jagdeep Singh.
Yeah.
He says, why the medium of instruction at elementary level will be mother tongue? Is it mandatory or it's going to be just a formality? Jagdeep is asking this.
I think
Sir, can
it
you
will
be
be
little louder? I'm finding it very difficult to hear. I don't know what's the problem here.
Hello. It will be mandatory in a sense. We all know that our initial learning becomes in our mother tongue. When our first teacher is our mother, our first teacher is our family. So we learning becomes in mother tongue, in family itself. A family from Punjab may be living in USA, but if you ask, they will have a learning of Punjabi also, because they say it is our mother tongue we have learned. May be living in USA and Canada. So this is why it is not only we say, I said even European Union made it compulsory for them also, because by nature or what you call that a kind of a thing that we are suddenly by nature we are learning all these things.
Okay.
Yeah, am I clear?
Yes, you are clear. I think Jagdeep ji आपको आंसर मिल गया है. Jagdeep ji. So it's just not. It's not going to be a formality. It's going to be. It's going to be mandatory. And इसका भी background यही बताया गया कि the moment a child is born, you always speak to your child in your own mother tongue. So he or she becomes familiar with that. So once you start teaching your child in your own that mother tongue, so maybe things become more easy. Anyone else
Yeah,
with any other
yeah.
question, please?
Sir,
Anyone else?
I have a
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
अभी आपने
Yeah.
कहा कि मदर टंग जो है मतलब इट विल बी मैंडेटरी, तो प्राइवेट स्कूल्स का अपना ही सिस्टम होता है, लाइक दे आर क्रिश्चियन स्कूल्स रन बाय मिशनरी एंड डिफरेंट डिफरेंट रिलीजन्स व्हाटएवर, तो सर वो लोग तो अपना ही सिस्टम फॉलो करते हैं. विल दे फॉलो दिस सिस्टम ऑफ मदर टंग स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम मदर टंग एंड this NEP?
ये देखो, once it will be implemented, na new education policy, the public school also have to implement 25% reservation for below poverty line. We see that for BPL, students are enrolled in public school 25%. So likewise also, what are the new things? Because they have taken land from the public, they have taken other infrastructure also from the public. So it will be mandatory some of the things that they have to implement, kind of a thing. And when I said in previous kind of a thing, mother tongue learning already starts from our family, from our first teacher, that is mother. That is what is extended to the foundational level, and we will have to make it that how learning, because once it is not there, it might be the interest of the child. I say that you have to learn French from the beginning. The interest may not come as the interest come in Punjabi, because it is our family language. It is our community language. So learning should start from the family and community language, and this is why it is implemented.
Thank you, Dr. Rajesh.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank
Is
you.
that over? I think, Dr. Rajesh, it has been a very, very interesting and very effective the way the questions are pouring in. Thank you so much for giving us in detail about the topic which was given to you, that is this leveraging the role of higher education in lifelong learning for sustainability and analysis with scope to NEP. Thank you so much. And the last few lines, I would like to say that the goals in NEP, they require funding, not all, right? Many of the changes that NEP sets out to achieve, they only require the attitudinal change by adopting effective teaching learning process, academic and administrative procedures, and also a lot of autonomy has been given to the educational institutions to implement NEP and to make the education process holistic, multidisciplinary, and by incorporating changes in institutional function without any push from anyone. And again, I would like to just lastly say that before this NEP 2020 came, there was lots and lots of work done at the grassroots level. All the stakeholders were taken to consulted. There were a lot of work done, at all the grassroots level before all these decisions were made. So it's a long term in nature, and so we all have to build support mechanism as a first priority. And the support mechanism is already like built in NEP through the establishment of Higher Education Commission of India. So we are now, I think UGC is going to be taken over by HEC. I don't know whether Dr. Rajesh will agree with me. And with 4 verticals: accreditation, funding, and academic standard setting. So there are a lot of changes expected, hopefully for good, and implementation definitely is going to take some time, but it's going to be for the good. So with these words, Dr. Rajesh, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to have a interface with you, our faculty, students, research scholars, teachers. They must have learned a lot. It has been very, very interesting and very nice session. Thank you again from the Department of Community Education and University Institute of Hotel and Tourism Management. Thank you, sir, and thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all. Thank you. It's a very learning experience for me also, and I received a lot many things. And we hope that this endeavor continue. I really welcome to your Vice Chancellor's initiative, and it is very successful. Thank you all, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.